Good morning. Welcome inside the West Virginia State Capitol. This is MetroNews Talkline, and we are underway.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded.
We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the MetroNews Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Cue Dave and TJ. You're on. MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Good morning. We are in the upper rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. It's MetroNews Talkline at the AARP broadcast location. Lots to dive into. As always today, a little bit later on, Senator Eric Tarr will join us. He was one of the Republicans to vote against the Senate budget. We'll talk to him about that. Also, Greg Thomas, GOP strategist, will join us in the second hour. Stephen Allen Adams, on loan from Ogden newspapers, will join us as well. Appreciate you listening in on one of our great radio affiliates across the state or watching on the MetroNews Television app, YouTube, and Facebook. Jake Link is behind the controls at the suite in Morgantown. Stephanie Pauly's on-site director, Ethan Collins, running the radio side of things. Say good morning to TJ Meadows. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning, sir.
Got lots happening. House Finance Committee is meeting this morning. They got a plethora of bills to get through today. Hope Scholarship still a big topic. CPS, foster care bills on the Senate side. Lots happening. So we brought in the big guns this morning. Joining us from West Virginia Watch is Amelia Knisley. Good morning, Amelia.
Good morning. Thank you for referring to me as a big gun.
Well, we got him double-barreled this morning because Brad McElhinny's also with us to get the show running this morning. Brad, of course, brought to you by AARP, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Visit the AARP on social media and learn more at aarp.org/WV. Morning, Brad.
Oh, good morning. The big guns couldn't be here, but we are happy to fill in.
All right, so we got a couple of 22s. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever works. What's happening today, Brad?
Oh, so, we've been triangulating the budget, and triangulating means three. So we got the Senate, the House. The third weighs in today. Governor Patrick Morrisey is having a high noon press conference where he's going to give his view of the budget situation. He has been pretty aggressive on social media, has certainly been out around the state saying that his administration did the hard work of allowing for a 5% personal income tax increase, but that the legislature should do the remaining work to get to the 10. And yesterday, on a bill that relates to the budget, the Hope Scholarship, took the unusual move of showing up on the very uncomfortable bench in House Finance to show that he's willing to go the extra Morrisey mile.
Brad, I feel the House has made a good case that we just can't afford a tax cut and fund Medicaid in general revenue and fund Hope in general revenue. Is the governor up against it? Will he need to make the case as to why the House is wrong today in that presser?
He is preliminarily making the case that they are being irresponsible. And I am now going to give you some good radio. I'm going to read a tweet. This was 11:30 last night. Patrick Morrisey's personal account. New spending bills that pass in the West Virginia Legislature should be offset and accounted for. We cannot sacrifice our future for the wild spending of today. I will fight against the legislature chewing up all of the resources we need to provide West Virginians with the across-the-board income tax reductions they deserve. And then he alludes to the press conference today, and he says 70% of Republicans are with us. The point you made that the House budget appears to be more fiscally conservative. They leave $30 million on the table. They don't spend it all. What I hear is him saying the opposite.
Amelia, can you direct me to the wild spending in the legislature this year?
No, because I think it's important to note, too, that there are lots of proposals that are not in this budget, right? Like nothing for child care reform to open up more child care spots, no allocation for new CPS workers. We have a very high-profile bill in the Senate that would give more money to public schools for special education. At least on the Senate side, like that's not in there. It's also not in the House side. We had a House version of that. So I still feel like this budget isn't doing a lot of things that lawmakers came into the session wanting to accomplish. And they're still saying they can't get everything the governor wants done.
I mean, let me make a rhetorical point. The governor talks about that spending. When I looked at his budget from the get-go, the expense spread between fiscal 26 that was appropriated and fiscal year 27, it's 4.2% higher. That's more than inflation. Mm-hmm. So the governor's doing the same thing, isn't he? If he's spending more than inflation, he's spending too. So pot calling kettle black, I don't know, Dave Wilson, but it just doesn't reconcile to me.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out at noon.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. It doesn't reconcile with me. These aren't either the Senate or the House guys aren't exactly spending a ton of money. Like you said, Amelia, and you've been watching CPS, foster care, child care. There were bills that have been out there. Are they moving? It doesn't seem like they're moving because there are financial notes that got to go on them, and right now everything's on the budget.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And, I mean, Senator Amy Grady told Brad and I last week that she's been told that hopefully her funding for special education student will get back into the budget when it comes back to the Senate from the House. But again, that wasn't a priority that we saw coming out of the first version of the Senate budget. So, and that is the number one ask from the public school system is extra money for special education this year.
That may be what the governor is referring to in advance. I'm wondering that. But right now, that money for either for special education or more generally financial support for the schools, that's in nobody's budget right now. Meanwhile, the governor is going to the bench in House Finance, going the extra mile for money intended for people whose kids are outside the public school system, but no extra dollars right now for the public school system.
And that fiscal note on the Hope bill is, 4 times what Senator Grady is wanting for special ed. And that's the one that he showed up in person to advocate for. So it definitely, we've seen Governor Morrissey express support here and there for public schools, but his priorities are definitely landing with school choice this week.
And not to state the obvious, but that was the whole reason behind the economic triggers with the tax cut. You needed growth in the economy to go deeper. And this goes above and beyond that, which we already did last year as well. But this goes above and beyond. So I'm eager to see how the governor is going to make the case today that we can really afford this. And I think everybody on this set knows I don't like the income tax, but you got to have it from somewhere. You got to pay for services somehow. And there's no new tax proposed with this outside of that vape tax that the Senate wants, which is what, $22 million? So again, the math doesn't math.
And the governor's own staff told us in House Finance, rewind back to week 1 of session when they presented the governor's budget, that the looming federal cuts, we don't even know the full extent of. They were saying that's something that needed to be watched. So we're a very federally dependent state. We still don't know the full magnitude of what's going to happen to us as the One Big Beautiful Bill takes effect. And that's something that I think that isn't really being talked about as much up here right now.
One more point on the budget. Brad, the House Freedom Caucus put out a release on, I think it was Friday. They opposed the Senate's budget with the 10% income tax. Yeah,
for these similar reasons. And I will say, listeners, you had intended to get the Freedom Caucus leader. He had an illness, but maybe at some point. But, the Freedom Caucus, which is the super conservatives, particularly in the House of Delegates, saying that I think they were singling out the Senate budget, right, to say that it just goes too far. It has too much spending out of the realm of what the general revenue can afford, too much in surplus. I think you're going to hear similar remarks probably from Senator Tarr when he's on in just a few minutes. Another thing that came up at the beginning of the session that we haven't heard much about, credit to the governor and his revenue and budget people for doing a 6-year plan. That is really helpful. It is, I think, an area of responsibility, and I want to clearly give them credit for doing it. But under the trajectory that the governor has mapped out, there is deep debt in the coming years, deep base spending beyond what the state is anticipated to be able to stand in those out years.
And Amelia, doesn't that create political and optical problems, because this time last year we heard we have a $600 million hole. We can't do this. Now, to Brad's point, by fiscal 31, I think it's $400 million annually. Same hole, yet we're doing something. It seems optically tough to make that argument.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it much better than you
Okay.
did. I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's
Just making sure I'm on there.
Yeah,
All right.
we're with you. We're tracking.
I mean, the case the governor makes is that his administration took action to close that gap last year, and that's how he's saying, in part, that they're able to get to the 5%. That was the hard work to get to the 5%.
Okay.
Getting to the 10%, though, it seems to me if you actually knew how to do that, you'd put it in the budget yourself.
Yeah.
Brad McElhinny is here, and Amelia Knisley on loan from West Virginia Watch. Yesterday, over on the Senate side, Senate Judiciary Chairman Tom Willis held a public hearing talking about CPS issues and problems. He's got a bunch of bills this week he wants to get through. Kind of give us the recap on what was happening over there.
So, yes, Chairman Willis really has made this week, he's kind of calling it his CPS week. And there are widespread issues with Child Protective Services. Understaffed, too high caseloads. We still see horrific news stories where children have been left in unsafe homes. So he's trying to get some clarity and some information from parents. Interestingly, and there's some more bills coming today, his focus seems to really be on that we are taking too many children from parents. Now, there's probably some truth to that. We do have, the largest by ratio number of kids in foster care. But it is I've never heard that come from any person I work with in the child welfare realm, like any advocates or people that run homes for children. They're always saying we need more CPS workers, we need to reduce caseloads, we need to help people be able to do their job effectively. So interestingly, he's really focused on how can we remove fewer children from their homes. And there's a bill today even like modifying when a child could be removed from a home. And the families that we saw show up yesterday, most of them were detailing how CPS had wrongly taken their children. Again, I don't want to say that doesn't happen, but that's not been a focus we've really seen before from lawmakers, and that seems to be where his main focus is this week. But this is certainly a system that needs attention. It needs reform. It needs money. Speaking of things we're not spending money on. So it'll be interesting to see how these bills fly, because we are, we're only 3 weeks away from sine die. So it's in the timing of it's a little interesting too.
Let's say for the sake of argument, 5% was done in error. That's 300 children. You still have almost 6,000. So to your point, this doesn't solve much. And look, you want to take a look at the criteria. I think that's fine. I don't know as well as you do, but it would seem to me that if that criteria has stood for a long time, why now? It doesn't seem outlandish, at least on the face of it, when I take a look at what constitutes a situation where someone gets taken away, a child is taken away versus not, but I would defer to your judgment on that.
No, I think you're right. And I want to be cautious, because I do think that does happen sometimes.
Sure.
And people win lawsuits over that, right? But this focus on kind of reforming CPS is just one part of overall child welfare issues. And most of the reforms that they're proposing, some of them cost money. Like we saw a proposal yesterday that they want to put body cams on every CPS worker. That has a pretty significant fiscal note that I'm not sure will get in there. But again, we didn't raise money for CPS workers or allocate more workers. So it feels like we're trying to fix a problem without doing what the social workers are asking, which is give us pay raises, hire more workers so those caseloads can go down and we can really vet the children coming into the system.
Brad, House Education meeting this morning?
We were both in Senate Education.
Oh, Senate Education.
Which got started a little late, and then we were due, I don't know if you're aware, for MetroNews Talkline at 10:06.
Yes.
So we were both in there in the back row and got up in unison and stormed out of the meeting room to give them the impression that we were upset for some reason.
Did they get that impression? Is Senator Grady very upset with you now?
If anybody is upset around here, it's a great place to get over it quickly.
Brad, one final question. I think one of the reasons to move the budget so quickly, back to that topic, was to have 5 days. The governor has 5 days to sign it. The legislature would still be in session, so if they didn't like something the governor did in the line item veto, they would have time to come back and override that. But for every day we move on, we're getting toward the end here, so it's going to get tight, no?
To me, this is a little kabuki theater. One thing that gives me pause, though, on on thinking that is the House and the Senate budgets really are pretty far apart.
Yes.
So how much do they actually have common ground in the back in quiet that they may meet on in the end, and how much is truly a gap between the two? If it's a little bit like, well, we got ours, you got yours, it's a little bit for show, we know what we're going to do in the end, then that's resolvable pretty quickly. But if it's truly like, this is ours and this is yours, and we really disagree, plus the governor disagrees, well, I guess we'll see you guys in June.
MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny. Of course, you can follow his work presented by AARP, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Connect on social media at AARP West Virginia. Learn more at aarp.org/WV. Amelia Knisley on loan from West Virginia Watch. You can read her work at westvirginiawatch.com. Always forget it's .org.com.
Okay.
.com. westvirginiawatch.com. Guys, we appreciate it. Crossover day, week from tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. A glimmer of hope in the distance. A bright, shining star.
We're under 3 weeks here at the State Capitol. Guys, appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
This is Talkline for the AARP broadcast location. We're back in a moment.
It is never fun, especially by your network. Cyber threats don't announce themselves. They slip in quietly, disrupt operations, and disappear before you know what happened. CityNet's cybersecurity services provide proactive monitoring, threat detection, and expert response, so your business stays connected and protected. Commit to a relationship built on trust and reliability. Learn more at citynet.net today. And remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
Hospitals drive West Virginia's economy. They produce jobs and create opportunities while keeping our communities healthy. Employing nearly 54,000 people, West Virginia hospitals rank among our state's largest and most dependable employers. They provide more than $1 billion in community benefits and generate nearly $17 billion in total economic impact each year. Hospitals are investing where it counts, advancing health, ensuring access to care, and powering West Virginia's economic future.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at wvha.org.
Coal-based generation remains the backbone of West Virginia's energy portfolio, ensuring reliability, security, and affordable electricity throughout the region. Our coal plants are engineered for performance, designed to run most efficiently at or near a 70% capacity factor. This level of operation is not arbitrary. It's based on sound engineering principles, scientific analysis, and has been formally adopted by the West Virginia Legislature as a reasonable target for optimal performance. When our coal fleet operates near that benchmark, it provides stable power to the grid, maintains cost efficiency, and supports thousands of good-paying jobs across our state. Coal generation also drives local tax revenue that sustains schools, infrastructure, and community services. Working in partnership with state leaders and the Trump administration, we're ensuring that our coal fleet remains modern, efficient, and ready to power West Virginia and beyond for decades to come. This message brought to you by the West Virginia Coal Association and Friends of Coal.
At Glenville State University, we are pioneers. With over 45 undergraduate degree programs, 17 NCAA athletic teams, and countless campus organizations and activities, we're here to help you build your story while becoming a part of ours. Glenville State University, your dream, your future, your story. Visit glenville.edu today for more information.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at wvhtf.org.
Across West Virginia, hospitals are always here, healing, helping, and standing strong for our communities. Hospitals save lives and build livelihoods. They're among our largest employers, with a passionate workforce of 54,000 West Virginians. Hospitals are economic drivers, contributing close to $17 billion to our state's economy and working to ensure access to care for all. From life-saving moments to wellness support, West Virginia hospitals keep our state healthy, our families strong, and our future bright.
New year, new truck. Start your year off with a new truck from Dan Cava Toyota World. Now lease a 2025 Tacoma for as low as $299 a month. Save over $7,500 off on select Tundras or get 2.99% for 72 months. It's your last chance to get a gas model 2025 RAV4. Don't miss out. Come experience cars you can count on year after year. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop Thoron.
Metro News Midday gives you the news of the day as it's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say we'd get something more important, but probably not.
Honestly, no. We're just doing whatever. We're
probably
spitballing
not.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for Midday on Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at wvmetronewstv.com.
Virginia. MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Putnam County Senator Eric Tarr going to join us coming up after the news break. Dave and TJ in the belly of the beast, upper rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Just to pick up on what we were talking about there at the very end with this budget, because everything is kind of, if it's got a fiscal note, the budget's running so early, they're not moving. So a lot of the things we're talking about are around the fringes. Hope is over here. I did see, TJ, and I thought this would catch your attention today, and I just wonder, Team West Virginia, I think it's Senate Bill 1062 is on the Economic Development Committee in the Senate later today. That's a priority bill that Roger Hanshaw has talked a lot about. Governor doesn't necessarily back it. It's being introduced into the Senate. How does that play into this game of leverage as we start to get down to budgeting, budget priorities, tax cuts, 5%, 10%, 7%, whatever the case may be? I just wonder how that becomes another factor into this larger equation in the final 2.5 weeks.
It depends on whether or not the House and the Senate can get together. If the House and the Senate can get together, you know, the House stripped out the governor's civil contingency budget, which I think of like $30 million,
right,
could fund that program. If they can get the governor, if they, being the House and the Senate, can get together, get it early enough, more than 5 days, they don't necessarily need the governor. So it depends on how quickly the House and the Senate can get together. I mean, that's it. Can they? If they can't, they lose that leverage, and then programs like that will be on the chopping block and many more. But that's one that has a return on investment, can bring money into the state. What fixes everything we're talking about? More revenue.
More revenue, grow the economy.
Grow the economy.
Grow the population. We need people. We need to grow the economy. If you grow the economy, you know what you get, TJ?
What's that?
Triggers to cut the income tax.
There you go. Bingo.
It kind of works itself out that way. We will continue the discussion. Senator Eric Tarr, Putnam County, he was one of the few, I think there were 2 Republicans who voted against the Senate budget bill. We'll talk to him about that. And he was in the meeting yesterday regarding the governor's Bring Them Home bill, talking about, do we really need to take on new facilities when we can't keep up with the ones that we've got? Those are my words, not necessarily his, but that's the gist of it. We'll talk to Senator Tarr coming up after the news break. Second hour, Greg Thomas, Republican strategist, will join us. We'll get the thoughts of Stephen Allen Adams, who's been taking all of this in for the last couple of days as well. Busy day here at the state capitol as time is, it's starting to wind down. The pace is starting to pick up here over the final 2.5 weeks of the 60-day legislative session. Come on back and join us. We got some text today, too, as well, at 304-TALK-304. That is the text line. He's TJ Meadows. I'm Dave Wilson. We're at the AARP broadcast location. And this is Metro News Talkline on Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. It's 11:30. Let's get a news update from the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. We'll hear from Governor Patrick Morrisey in a noon news conference about his state budget, the one the state Senate has passed and the one the House of Delegates is considering. Morrisey's news conference scheduled for noon today at the Capitol. There are just 2.5 weeks left in the 60-day legislative session. Morrisey's Bring Them Home bill is moving in the Senate. The measure would create a fund that would collect money saved from bringing foster kids placed out of state for special services back home. The money will be used to update current facilities and hire specialists to work with them. The bill passed the Senate Judiciary Committee Monday evening. Putnam County Senator Eric Tarr says the state has a bad history trying to keep up with state-run facilities.
We have right now over, I believe it's north of $500 million in deferred maintenance that is not met presently across the state and state facilities when you talk about our jails, prisons, colleges, schools, you name it. Our hospitals that just sold were about to fall in on themselves, and we had to get rid of them because we didn't keep them up.
And EMS funding bill's next stop is the state Senate after clearing the House on a unanimous vote. The bill sets up a program where up to $12 million in state lottery funds can be used for matching funds for EMS. Preston County Delegate Buck Jennings, a longtime EMS member, with this reaction.
Thank you. Thank God we finally got something done. I've only been trying to get this funding since 2018. That's how long I've been here.
You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Come on, Liam, let's go. Get open. Come on, go for it. Wake up. Wake up, Liam. Oh, come on, use your head. Gotta want it. Dominate.
There he goes again. Liam's dad yelling from the stands, trying to relive his glory days.
I know. We're just trying to have fun out here and play with our friends. Like, it's not that deep.
He seriously needs to get a grip.
Does he really think he's helping Liam play better?
I feel bad for Liam. I know he's embarrassed his dad ruins every game like this. I mean, I would be too.
Someone needs to tell him this isn't about him.
Yeah, stop trying to coach from the stands and just cheer.
That's what Liam wants.
That's what we all want.
Be your student's biggest fan, not their biggest critic. This message presented by the WVSSAC and the West Virginia Athletic Directors Association.
The state's congressional delegation will be at the U.S. Capitol tonight for President Donald Trump's State of the Union address. U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito and Jim Justice, along with U.S. House members Carol Miller and Riley Moore, will be on hand. The address begins at 9. The first girls' high school basketball postseason games will tip off tonight in West Virginia. There'll be more games later this week. Winners advance and losers go home. The girls' state tournament at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center is March 10th through the 14th. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
We're in the upper rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol at the AARP broadcast location. David TJ, joined by Putnam County Senator Eric Tarr, joining us this morning. Eric, good morning. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Dave. Good to see you guys as well.
Can you feel the, I don't know if it's a buzz or tension or anxiety, but it's building final 2.5 weeks here.
It's building up. We're getting closer to that crossover day, and when that happens, you know, everybody's really worried about their bill timing out. So you start to see a lot more pressure on the chairman to get their bills on committee. You start seeing bills originating that the idea has been moving through the process, but really don't have a vehicle for it, so you create these new vehicles. And so as that starts to happen, the negotiations start getting intense. So, yeah.
Let's start with the budget. The Senate passed its budget last week. It was Senate Bill 250. It included the 10% income tax reduction that the governor is requesting. You voted no on that budget. A Republican voting no on that budget in the Senate. Why?
Yeah, the one is that because we increased spending and then gave a revenue reduction that just didn't match up. I don't think that going forward, if West Virginia is going to be able to maintain a path to a zero income tax, that you can't go out to where you're going to set your spending ahead of the revenue that's going to come in. And the budget that we have right now, and the chairman, I'm going to give the finance chairman a lot of credit here, even though I voted no on that budget, is that he's been handling a ball of yarn. And I walked off the floor and said, man, you better figure out how to make a straight line out of this, because what the governor handed down with a 5% budget change and then a 10% income tax suggestion, to have vehicles and to have negotiation in play, that budget was going to pass regardless of whether I voted no or not. But I did want to make sure that it was stated on the floor that this budget is absolutely not the Senate's endpoint. And the reason that I would say that is because it does exactly what I just said, is that if we take this thing right now, as the Senate passed it, we're going to have a huge budget hole coming up in the next few years. And that gets really painful. And it gets painful for the people of West Virginia, and that's what I don't want to see happen.
So let's get down in the weeds a little bit, but let's make it clear. every budget year you're going to have some increase in spending because you got to keep up with inflation. But if I'm hearing you right, you're saying from the governor and even in the Senate's version, that spending increase went far above inflation. Is that fair or no?
I would say it's fair, yeah. So what happens is that we have about 3% growth. When you go back past 60 years, you get about 3% annual growth in the cost of goods. And so as that happens, you're going to have a natural, if your services all stay the same, you're going to have a natural increase in cost of about 3%. So you hope your revenue is also going to come in about 3%. We cut out, we had such an economic growth in West Virginia that we were able to go in and reduce, we're close to 25% now on the income tax, and it's 26.25%, something like that. Now to reduce all that down, when we set that income tax cut, we did income forecast projections. I was looking at them this morning. I wondered where we are. We did it in 2022 because Justice didn't give us a 7-year plan, 6-year plan to say here's what we think it's going to look like. So in the Senate, we did that on ourselves, and we went out and did a forecast, sent it to Marshall, sent it to WU, economic schools, and said, is this accurate? Can you guys double-check our math? We were within 1% of where both schools were on our projections. And so I went back and looked at that today. With the $835 million tax cut that we did, not considering also that we've eliminated the income tax on Social Security, and not considering we also went into another 4% increase without the trigger, then we are on the lower confidence level of those projections today at $5.6 billion. So the governor, if you'll recall, when he first came out, said we're in a big $400 million hole, and we ended up with almost $400 million surplus. It's an $800 million delta. So I like to work off numbers that we work rather than work off actuals than numbers that I didn't get to touch, and feel. It's like eating at home. It's a good home cooked meal when you're going in and you know the numbers you're working with. So when we looked at that now, the way that I see it is that if we get ahead of that trigger at the spending rate, because we're already bumped up on our budget at near 5%, it's like a 4.7% increase, so which starts to create a budget hole in future years. And then we're going to say, okay, on top of that, we're going to go into a $250 million revenue reduction, which creates more of a budget hole.
So let me simplify that. You can't spend more than you make.
Can't spend more than you make. It's simple family economics. So what I hope and what I think will happen, this is going back and forth negotiation. You're seeing, the House didn't pass a tax cut bill. So the Senate bill is a vehicle for something if we can get to a tax cut. What I would suggest, and whether, this is, of course, suggest a lot up here that gets ignored, and that's okay. That's the process. But what I would suggest that if we're going to do additional tax cuts beyond what the trigger mechanisms, which we push that to the absolute ability of West Virginia to do a tax cut in any given year. Politically, that's a problem because every governor, every legislator wants to be able to vote and say they did a tax cut. So we put that in the books. It automatically happens. And so now they're trying to figure out how do we vote for a tax cut. Well, here's how you do it. If you're a legislator and you're listening to me today, here's how you do it. You hold a zero increase in your spending this year. That gives you $160 million that you would have been spending perpetually.
No inflation, no nothing.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, because of the inflationary increase. The inflationary increase on last year's revenue would be about $160 million. Okay. So if you hold flat spending, we would have, in that trend of 60 years plus now, you would have increased your spending by $160 million. Don't increase it. Turn around and give it a tax cut back. We can do that. We absolutely have the ability to do that. And that's what I would suggest that we do.
Senator Eric Tarr is joining us here at the ARP broadcast location. You've been around long enough. Nothing happens here by coincidence. Sometimes by accident things happen, but nothing happens by coincidence. What are the messages being sent, or what are the messages you are inferring by some of the moves being made? Guardrails on Hope Scholarship being proposed in the House, putting Hope at the back of the budget in the Senate, no tax cut on the House side. What am I supposed to make of all these mixed messages?
I think it's everybody's dealing with the problem I just told you about. Okay, so if you're going in, I don't think it's a secret that we can't spend more than we make. And if we're going to reduce how much we make, we need to reduce our spending even more. So, but at the same time, everybody's trying to figure out how do we get to a tax cut and how do we keep our spending in control. Well, so everything on a big spend comes into play. You got to realize we just spend another $100 million a year on also in public schools, and we went in for the Third Grade Success Act, and we're at that final year. So now that's additional $100 million a year we spend in public ed, and now Hope Scholarship's growing too, and so which we knew would happen. You'd have this growth. What I expect and what I hope is that the legislature will commit to Hope. To the Hope Scholarship that we did was to give parents the freedom to choose how their child is educated. I don't think we should step away from that whatsoever. We have more people moving into West Virginia than we have moving out now for the past couple of years. That's a big, big deal for West Virginia. Our population growth isn't there because of the death rate and birth rate. But it's been decades since we've seen more people moving in than moving out. And I think educational freedom is a big part of that. And I think the legislature realizes that as well.
Would you support a budget, a holistic package that has no change whatsoever to Hope, but no tax cut?
Yeah, I mean, for me, we have a tax cut in place. So, for
that
me,
that adder, that 10% adder.
Yeah. So if keep Hope, and if you reduce spending even with keeping Hope by reducing it, that'd be okay with the tax cut. We cannot, or if you go back, even if you don't do the full flat budget, say you go back, instead of going 3.5% or 3% increase, we go and do a 1.5% increase, and then you can go in and do an $80 million tax cut. So whatever makes that spend, whether it's Hope, whether it's Medicaid, whether it's I don't know, any roads, anything.
So, Eric, I have to ask you, you've laid out a plan here that seems fairly simple to me. Why aren't we doing it?
Politics.
Elaborate.
So I say this to people all the time when they come up and they're talking to legislators and they're seeing how the process works. Logic has no place in politics. And so if you're a math person, if you're a scientist up here, which I'm both, then logic rules my world. Business, logic rules my world, and relationships do too. Up here, relationships and common priorities rule. So if you have enough people with a common priority that doesn't match up with what I just explained as a simple budget, then you're going to have a problem. And that's what we have right now, is we don't have the same priorities coming from the governor's office as the legislature, and I don't think even within the legislature the Senate has the same priorities as the House. And so when those priorities are mismatched, you're going to have a hard problem with the budget.
Senator Eric Tarr is joining us, AARP broadcast location. Kind of mixing into all of this, yesterday was Senate Bill 399. That's the Bring Them Home bill. And you brought up the point that as admirable as that goal is, if we bring on new facilities, we've got old facilities that we can't take care of already, which goes into this larger problem, TJ, back to the budget of, are we spending more than we've got?
Yeah, the Bring Me Home Act or Bring Them Home Act, even by its own name, how do you vote against the Bring Them Home Act, right? I mean, that's a great name for any piece of legislation, especially here in West Virginia. The problem is not taking in historical account of how the state's operated with its own properties. We've had to sell off hospitals because the state did not take care of hospitals, and they were literally falling in on the patients that we were taking care of. We have universities that have significant structural deficits. We have jails that still have significant structural deficits. We have nearly $500 million in deferred maintenance still sitting out there that we don't have on the books to pay for right now. And so we're going to say, well, the fix is, instead of actually fixing the problem of the economics of foster care, we're going to build a new facility and rent it out to somebody. And so my point is we've had meeting after meeting and meeting saying what the problems are in foster care and why we're sending kids out of state. The big problem is with the PATH system. PATH system is not paying providers on time. We have providers that have been 8 months behind on getting paid for anything, any service they're providing because of this PATH system.
That's just the payroll system?
That's the payroll system. Well, okay. Yeah, so when you get a foster child that's going to go into residential placement, one of the DHHR employees has to start that case in PATH.
Okay.
When they come out of care, a DHHR employee has to take them out of PATH. Well, the problem is that communication between the provider and DHHR, there's a problem there, and then there's a system problem for the communication. So you have people with $1 million payrolls can't make payroll that are providing these services in state now, and we need to fix that, and they're underpaid for what they need to do. And probably undertrained for a lot of what needs to happen as well. When you look at the state side, we're not addressing that problem. Instead, we're saying, you know what, we're standing in a room that we built with dirt up to our knees. Let's go lay carpet down in another room, but not change the problem that brought the dirt up to our knees. And that's exactly what this bill does. It sounds good. It looks good. It feels good. it's the same old thing we've done for years and years and years that created the problems we have that we can't afford now.
Talk to me about spending money where we can get a return. I'm thinking about Team West Virginia, which Dave pointed out to me, 1062, right?
Correct.
We're going to run it. It's over in the Senate. I think I know how we might fund it. It might have something to do with the civil contingency budget. But anyway, how big of a miss, in your opinion, would it be if we don't get that through this session?
Team West Virginia is the biggest piece of legislation that this body could do, aside from getting the budget right, is getting Team West Virginia through. And that is based on the Ohio Jobs bill that was done back in years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but it was somewhere around 2014, 2013. Ohio had a huge budget deficit. They privatized their economic development. And what they did is they had, this is modeled almost identically off of it, with consultation with Ohio for where their successes and failures were in this program. And it was incredibly successful and is incredibly successful for them now. They have hundreds of thousands of jobs created off of it. They've had deca-billions invested in Ohio off of it. What it does is it takes the money that they got up from their alcohol sales, which would typically come into their general revenue. When they started, it was $25 million. They created a public-private entity that is a nonprofit, and they went in and said, okay, we're going to privatize everything around alcohol sales in that state. Well, the $25 million went to $250 million. So private industry 10x'd the revenue off of their sales, as you can imagine, compared to what government does with it. And the state's a partner in this, right? So the state owns half of alcohol sales. That's just, we are a partner in that industry. That's the way we're set up.
Like it or not, we're in business.
Like it or not, we're in business. So we can either be successful with it or we can be miserably failed with it. And so what this does is says we're going to be successful with it. Then you bond the $250 million. That gives you $1 billion a year in economic development funds. You take that $1 billion and then you use private sector strategy to attract businesses into West Virginia.
This governor seems like one, though, that doesn't want to buy jobs. I don't have a problem. Why should we not be afraid to buy jobs? That's what we need.
Yeah, well, even this, when you do that, the $1 billion you go out is not necessarily just saying, hey, we're going to hand you this money.
Sure.
It's what do you need in order to be able to invest in West Virginia. A lot of times it's infrastructure. Many of what we've done already, many things we've done, it says, we would love to be in West Virginia because the logistics make a lot of sense. If you put a bullseye on the map where we have the best chance of success to put our business, West Virginia is right in the middle of it. But, and usually the but is you don't have roads, you don't have sewer and water, you don't have internet. And I need excess power, I need water. We have excess power, we have water. We have rail. We have the things that matter except for the things the state has to go in and pay for. And so what this affords is the ability to go in and do a lot of that to attract those businesses in here. And getting our tax strategy on personal property is really the other half of that. That's something else. You've heard me beat on that for years. Ohio has that figured out too. So it's not the silver bullet, but it's a big bullet.
Can't win if you don't play, Eric.
That's exactly right.
What was you said? Logic and what science have no place in politics?
Yeah.
I'm going to get the T-shirt
exactly.
idea.
I love it.
And logic has no place in politics, man. I'll scream it from the rooftop up here.
Next
Patent
T-shirt
pending,
idea.
Trademark pending.
Trademark pending.
Yeah.
Eric Tarr, Putnam County Senator. Hey, thanks for stopping by.
All
Eric.
right, thanks for having me on, guys.
Talkline on Metro News. We're back in a moment.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to wvmetronews.com to apply. That's wvmetronews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
Principal Greg Dosh of MTech.
Thanks to funding in part from West Virginia lottery proceeds, we're expanding MTech with a new STEM edition.
Across West Virginia, opportunities like these are made possible when you play, helping to ensure more students can discover their future right here at home. For 40 years, proceeds from the West Virginia Lottery for education have totaled $4.1 billion. West Virginia Lottery, 18 plus to play responsibly.
Starting March 10th, Metro News brings you the 2026 West Virginia SSAC High School Basketball Championships presented by Chick-fil-A.
First title for Spring Mills and boys basketball.
The best teams in the state will once again meet at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center to compete for the title in their respective classes. The girls' tournament runs March 10th through 14th. The boys play March 17th through the 21st. Catch all the games on the Metro News Radio Network and at WVMetroNews.com, where you'll also find up-to-the-minute scoring, stats, and brackets, the latest tournament news, and game recaps. Also, you can watch the live HD video streams of the class championships both Saturdays on MetroNews Television.
The luck and skill of the Irish, they win the AA championship.
The 2026 West Virginia SSAC State High School Basketball Championships beginning March 10th, presented by Chick-fil-A, exclusively on Metro News, the voice of high school basketball in West Virginia.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I have had a complicated relationship with food. My job was to talk to heart failure patients about diet and exercise. I felt like, why would you listen to me? Because I was not following a diet that was healthy for me. I needed help. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 175 pounds. I feel like I'm free. They hold the skill, they hold the tools, and they're waiting for you to come say that you need the help.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Hi, I'm Chris Lawrence. Make plans to join me at the Mountain State's premier fishing, hunting, and outdoor sports show presented by Can-Am, Saturday and Sunday, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Over 200 vendor booths and 100,000 square feet of everything outdoors, all under one roof. Great prizes, seminars, and kids fish for free in the Academy Sports Trout Pond. It's the 24th annual West Virginia Fishing, Hunting, and Outdoor Sports Show, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Doors open both days at 9 a.m.
Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement, and we craft detailed financial plans for people like you because you're building your retirement your way. You deserve advice that's built to handle what your life brings. To meet with your Stike team advisor, call us at 304-443-4240 or email stike-info@wealthenhancement.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Jackpots are growing in West Virginia. Jackpots on the rise every week. Powerball hits Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. That's 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Play in store and online. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Powerball jackpot's $190 million. Mega Millions jackpot is $416 million. So go ahead, play today. We could have done an hour with Eric Tarr. We still went too long. We had much more to talk about, but we got to take another break because they pay us way too much. Actually, that's not true
for yourself.
At all. This is Talkline on Metro News from the ARP broadcast location. Back in a moment.
Building a stronger West Virginia isn't just a dream, it's a mission. The High Technology Foundation knows economic diversity is the key. For over 30 years, they've been dedicated to transforming the state's economic landscape. Conveniently located in the heart of West Virginia, innovation, growth, opportunity, all under one roof. there's no need to look far for change. It's happening right here at the High Technology Foundation in North Central West Virginia. Visit WVHTF.org to learn more.
Heart problems don't always require surgery. At WVU Medicine, we offer world-class care, close to home and always within reach, through our interventional cardiology team. Using minimally invasive procedures, we help you recover faster and feel better sooner. For more information, visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Since 1926, the West Virginia Hospital Association has been the collective voice of our state's hospitals. With a shared vision of strengthening communities, improving lives, and supporting our state's economic well-being, our member hospitals work every day to provide high-quality, accessible care. This year, we celebrate 100 years of a unified voice and our ongoing commitment to supporting our members in achieving a strong, healthy West Virginia.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at wvha.org.
Coal-based generation remains the backbone of West Virginia's energy portfolio, ensuring reliability, security, and affordable electricity throughout the region. Our coal plants are engineered for performance, designed to run most efficiently at or near a 70% capacity factor. This level of operation is not arbitrary. It's based on sound engineering principles, scientific analysis, and has been formally adopted by the West Virginia Legislature as a reasonable target for optimal performance. When our coal fleet operates near that benchmark, it provides stable power to the grid, maintains cost efficiency, and supports thousands of good-paying jobs across our state. Coal generation also drives local tax revenue that sustains schools, infrastructure, and community services. Working in partnership with state leaders and the Trump administration, we're ensuring that our coal fleet remains modern, efficient, and ready to power West Virginia and beyond for decades to come. This message brought to you by the West Virginia Coal Association and Friends of Coal.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
President Trump is right. America's electric grid needs to be fixed now.
When you have a grid system in this country that's obsolete and a disaster, it can't produce the electricity. Can't distribute the electricity.
For West Virginia, obsolete means power outages and lost opportunities. That's why more than 6,000 West Virginians signed a petition urging state leaders to support President Trump's call to fix our grid. Learn more at powerwvnow.org. Paid for by West Virginians for reliable and affordable energy.
It's high school basketball season, and MetroNews Television has you covered. Rivalries, buzzer beaters, classic hardwood competition. Watch live and on demand from gyms across the Mountain State. Stream MetroNews Television on your iPhone, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select smart TVs. Or visit MetroNewsTV.com for more information. High school basketball lives here on MetroNews Television.
Coming up second hour, we'll talk to Stephen Allen Adams with Ogden Newspapers. Republican strategist Greg Thomas will join us as well. Might even get to a text or two in the second hour. Dave and TJ at the AARP broadcast location. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. Hoppy Kercheval, 5:55 a.m. How early did you get in that day, by the way?
Probably 3:30.
How long did you do sign-on shift?
I signed on like 7 years.
Not all.
6 days a week for 7 years.
Lightweight.
I know. Couldn't do it now. Now when I wake up at 3:30 is to go to the bathroom. And go back to bed.
Welcome to the 2 o'clock hour, Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com on a Wednesday, and I apologize because Stephanie Pauly is our producer, one of the producers of the show, and normally she has everything. We have a thing we call the run sheet, where we have who we're calling and what we're doing and so on. And so, and Stephanie, I don't even know whether you know this. I did the run sheet today, and I put the wrong date on. I put 2025 on it because how many of us in modern day actually write the date out anymore? I mean, you did it when you were in school, you did it back when people wrote checks and whatever. This may have been the first day that I have written the date down, and I was responsible for putting together the sheet. And my co-host, the lovely and talented AB, starts the show by saying January 24th, 2025, because she read it directly off the sheet. And it is indeed the year of our Lord, 2026.
Oh, yeah, he did find something out. Something, you're related to Thomas Jefferson?
Well, I'm not related to Thomas Jefferson, but I am related to Samuel Kercheval, who was a historian.
I'm going to tell you something about Samuel Kercheval. Him and Jefferson out smoking corn silk. Kercheval told him, Thomas, I don't know about this country. Might want to start again.
He could.
So I don't have a monitor here, so I really can't see what happens at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. So at what point do I pop up? When the music starts and Mr. Announcer comes on?
Yeah.
So they see all the little panic things that I do that I'm still in the process of setting up?
Yes. They see you shuffle about uncomfortably. They see you blow the dust off your headphones. They see you put in like 2 cough drops at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I don't do 2 at the same time. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know that. I should probably. Now, these shows are archived, right? So I can go back and watch them.
Yes.
So I could live this show in real time and then go home and, when I say something to Linda like, hey, did you hear when I did this? And I don't watch it. Well, let's get in front of the TV and watch me do it again for 3 straight hours.
Yes, it's archived just like the audio podcast.
Ah, that's right.
And see, this is the thing that gets the NCAA in trouble, when it goes to court here. Is there a clock or not? Greg, we talk about the clock all the time. Mm-hmm. If he began in 2019, the clock should have run out, whether he's played the 4 years or not. And that's part of the argument because some guys go right through the clock, right? TJ Finley, we've mentioned many times on this show. 7th team coming up this year. He's playing for Incarnate Word. He's played 7 seasons at 7 different schools. Now, why hasn't his clock started? Why doesn't he have the 5-year clock? So if you're Aguilar, I get it.
He just bouncing him off the ropes. Somebody save this man. Oh, my Lord. Oh. Very nice, very nice. He hit him with everything he didn't want.
Ten seconds remaining.
There'll be a direct snap here.
Snap back. It's Tyler. Tyler fakes the run. He throws. He's got an open man. Pass top 10. 5. End zone. It's a touchdown. Pulled in by Nestor. 3 seconds left.
Are you kidding me with the play call right there by Kevin Whiteman? Again, forget the game-winning field goal. Whiteman says, we're going to try and win this thing right now. The direct snap to Tyler sucked everybody up. And Nestor slips behind. What an unbelievable gutsy play call and then perfect execution by these Falcons.
Things aren't always going to be great. And sometimes, you can work really, really hard and it's still not great. You're still not successful. But, if you continue to do it, one way or another, things are going to be work out. You're going to be successful. And it may not be in the world's eyes, but God's made us this way. He's blessed us with so many things, and I think that's one of our attributes that we need to have is we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work hard, and if it doesn't work out exactly how we want, just keep plugging away because God's got better plans.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour of MetroNews Talkline. We're at the AARP broadcast location, Upper Rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. Dave Wilson along with TJ Meadows. Jake Link is back at Master Control in the broadcast suites on Spruce Street in Morgantown. Stephanie Pauley's on-site producer. Ethan Collins is handling the radio side of things. You can thank him if you're listening in on one of our great radio affiliates across the state. Appreciate you watching the MetroNews TV app, Facebook Live, and YouTube as well. Greg Thomas, Republican strategist, will join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll get his take on this, that, and the other coming up at 11:30 this morning. And I promise, well, I don't want to promise, I will do my best to get to a text or two at 304-TALK-304. The guy to my left is TJ. The guy to my far left is Stephen Allen Adams. He writes for Ogden newspapers, Capitol reporter, and columnist. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy to be with you here under the Golden Dome, underneath the paws of baby dog somewhere.
Right there.
Yeah, right over there.
She's up there. Still.
Still.
I see people stop right over there to your left. Stop and take a picture. Whatever. Where do you want to begin, Stephen? You want to start budget, Hope Scholarship? There are things happening, and it's like we're all waiting for that one domino to fall, and then we start to see the rest tumble into place.
So many dumpster fires. So many dumpster fires. I mean, there's
it's like Morgantown after a Pitt game.
Exactly. Oh, man. Well, yeah, because, I mean, everything's interconnected at this point. We'll see what other bills are moving through the session that might have price tags, so I'm skeptical about any of them that have fiscal notes really kind of making it through. And it's a domino, like you said, it is a domino, and a lot of it's dependent right now on this originating bill. It doesn't have a bill number yet that's sitting in House Finance. They're working on a committee substitute for that bill right now that would make several reforms to the Hope Scholarship. And I do feel like that